the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. The Freedom of Thought podcast is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps and applications and all that, on Android and Apple devices, I'm sure, and of course, all over the place. Sorry it's been so long. I apologize. Schedules change. Schedules get congested. My wife's schedule was on top of mine, so it's like, and recording this show with my wife around at the place isn't a good combination. Let's just leave it at that. So I'm kind of going about this a little different way. So, and this way I can be more mobile, so to speak. So hopefully the audio quality doesn't drop off too much. I'm going to try my best to kind of keep up with the show this way and maybe record snippets here and there and put shows together that can get things going. Of course, it's like, news breaks, this and that. And sometimes I'll just have a whole podcast like 10, 15 minutes long. Sometimes it'll be a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. Who knows? But this is the direction we're going to head for now. Hopefully the audio again is decent, and I can hopefully improve it over time as well and be back at home while recording. But today I'm kind of focusing on global warming, at least for this segment. It's, just take a look outside. If you live in, say you live in Golden Valley, Minnesota, maybe even Iowa, the Twin Cities in Minnesota. It's May the 1st. It's 44 degrees right now. 44 degrees. And it's dark and cold. There basically almost no buds are opening. Finally, you're seeing some petals on the ground from buds opening. Not from flowers and blooming and all that, but from petals on the ground. And it's just unbelievable how people still believe this lie of global warming. There are hot and cold cycles. There are wet and dry cycles. And, there are sun cycles that get hot and cold. There's sunspots. If there's lots of sunspots, that means there's all kinds of those solar loops and all that. That's what's happening. That's when the sun gets very, very, very warm. And when there's hardly any sunspots, which there really haven't been for the last few years, you're going to get colder air. You're going to have colder winters, colder springs, this and that. Now, springs kind of ebb and flow, this and that. And again, that's cycles. That's cycles. Sometimes you heard about the polar vortex. Sometimes it gets irregular and you get a crazy situation happening in, say, January, February. And then occasionally things can linger and create a very cold spring. And then you get a hot and humid summer. And then there it is. That's proof of global warming now. See what happens is, when the poles melt a little bit, the water rises and it makes everything colder. But then magically it gets hotter right after that. So but it makes everything colder and then hotter and then colder and hotter. That doesn't make any sense. So it's just a lie. It's a money grab that's been out there for years and years and years and years and years, and it's insulting the intelligence of the average American, the average person out there. It's a damn shame that people actually believe it, and it's just it leaves you at a point of like disbelief. You'd think, okay, sure, it was getting warmer in the late 90s. It was getting colder in the 70s for a while there, and they're talking about the Ice Age. And you hear people like Bob Bierman of Truth to Ponder here saying he's been hearing the same lie for 50 years and how it keeps changing. It's global cooling, or here comes the Ice Age. I remember even hearing that in the 80s, if I remember correctly. Here comes the Ice Age. We're going to all freeze. And then by the late 90s, it's global warming. And then after that, when they realize, okay, wait, where do we go now? Since it's not like really warmer, it's colder, it's warmer, it's colder, and you get some really crazy summers, crazy this and that. Let's just call it climate change instead. And people keep feeding it out there and speaking about it like it's the absolute gospel of all time. Like there's absolutely, literally no common sense to it at all. And then there's also no disagreement. And 99% of scientists agree that global warming is real. And where are you coming up with this number? Like the Chad Hartmans, Henry Lake, people like that locally. But like Chad Hartman brought it up to the gubernatorial candidate a while back, Mr. Johnson, who I liked quite a bit, and he kind of went with it. I couldn't believe it, but that was frustrating. That was a while ago, though. I haven't listened to Chad Hartman in many years because he made a complete ass of himself time and time again. All the respect to his father, Sid Hartman, obviously lived to 100 and a half, basically, until he passed away in October 2020. But at the end of the day, Chad Hartman made an ass of himself on his show time and time again with comments like that. And unfortunately, that's where the average leftist, the average progressive, the average global climate change cult member will come to you to intimidate you. Well, 99% of scientists agree. They always come in to intimidate you. And 99% of scientists agree about this vaccine. They support this vaccine. That's not true. They're just coming up with a big, 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 beautiful, sexy number to intimidate you. And it's like, you're a complete moron. You're a moron. You're part of the 1%. Oh, you're one of those. You're in a cult. You're in the cult of Trump. No, my friend. You're in the cult of global warming. You're in the cult of progressives. You're in the cult of Black Lives Matter and of the woke agenda, the gay agenda. Seriously, you can't tell me society's better with people walking around with purple hair, and you don't know if they're man or woman or man. How is society better than just, that's a guy, that's a lady? That's, it's spring, it's summer, it's fall, it's winter. No, it's global warming now. It's global warming and we're all going to melt. We're all going to melt. We're all going to freeze. Turn your car off, this and that. I'm not for polluting the environment at all. In fact, I see stuff on the ground. I tend to pick it up. I see glass or cans in the garbage. If it's not too dirty, I can sometimes I'll pick it up and put it in the recycle bin, because I'm for not wasting things that can be reused, recycled, this and that. But at the same time, I'm not going to join the cult and tell everybody basically we got to live our lives much more complicated. We have to make everything 10 times more expensive. We have to shut down pipelines in order to, in order to fight global warming. We have to pollute the atmosphere in order to reflect the sun's rays back out into space. You're polluting the atmosphere. So you're completely you're completely being hypocritical about it in every way, like the Bill Gateses of the world that want to reflect the sun's rays back out to prevent global warming, and then you have global cooling, you have record cold. If anything, what they're doing is probably causing this record cold, if anything. So, they're making a difference, all right, which is kind of funny, actually, at the end of the day. It's odd. It's odd that people could actually fall for this nonsense and continue to do so at such a crazy pace, an insane pace. It's breaking my heart, to be quite honest. I wish so much society could wake up and realize that this is all a big lie and it's a big giant money grab for all the Al Gores of the world. You get the solar energy, you get this, you have to buy different kinds of bags now. Like particularly my brother with the lawn service has to buy the green bags for compost and everything, and it costs like how much more? It's like over $1 per bag. And my God, I mean, you get little boxes of 100. That's $100, and I believe that's actually gone up in price since then. That was a while ago. That was years ago. $1 per bag. Do you understand what that is? $1 for one bag for leaves, sticks, whatever the heck. And in the fall, when you're talking about 20 to 40 or 20 to 40 bags per lawn, that sounds pretty insane. So when you sit down and analyze that, you're just like, really, what the hell? You're literally raising the price of everything when you go in that direction. It's just not going to stop. It's never going to stop until people stand up and say no. And it's going to have to take so many of us. And it's so tough. And it's just so few people have the guts to step up and say, this needs to stop. It's a lie. You're ripping people off. Just like, again, this happened, gosh, that's 7 years ago already. 2015. I was driving my brother's Suburban with the lawn gear in the back and everything. And I got pulled over and kind of harassed by a cop saying we didn't have this big Department of Transportation sticker or magnet on our truck, and that we're going to be fined up to $5,000 for that. Up to $5,000. And, you have to get the Department of Transportation because, it's too big of a load and this and that. All it is just give us more money. Give us more money and we're in control. Give us more money and we're in control. That's all it is. That's all it is. I mean, you can't even have a lawn service without that, and you pay thousands of dollars a year just to have a magnet on your car so you don't get pulled over because, it's just another excuse to take money from people. License tabs, you pay that every year. That's just another money grab. Obviously, okay, fine, that goes to fixing the roads. Okay, whatever. At least, so they say, it goes to fixing the roads. How much of it goes to fixing the roads? Good question. That would be nice to know, wouldn't it? Because how could any of us possibly know unless we're completely on the inside? So, well, it kind of leaves you in that question and in that position as well. So, as for all this Department of Transportation, where does all the money go? Oh, I'm sure it goes to all the best, most wonderful things in the world. And the lottery, the gambling, and the scratch-offs and all that. Oh, that goes to the environment. That goes towards the environment. Sure it does. I'm sure it goes to a lot of bureaucrats' pockets as well. I'm sure it's all used to help the environment. And I know, no, it was never said that it's all used for the environment, but I bet it's a very, very, very small percentage, just like all these other things. And that's where, like, all this global warming, it's a big lie, and it's never going to stop until people say no. And I wish enough people could say no. And enough people could get the courage to say, this is BS. Like, I remember getting in the conversation with the person at work years ago when, was it the spring of 13, I believe, or 14? Both springs were awfully cold, where it was like snowing in May and April and all that. And they were talking about it's global warming. And I said, well, isn't that the opposite? And then that's when they came up with this nonsense about, well, when the poles melt, the water rises and it makes everything colder. So that's not global warming, you stupid idiot, for one. And, of course, the poles, they melted a little bit during the warm cycles in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then guess what happened? They got, like, much, 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 much larger. And that's been, was it the Russian ice core samples from the South Pole years ago? Incredible how... and stuff like that, how it shows more and more evidence of how actually it was much warmer many, 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 many years ago as well. And all these different cycles over hundreds of years, thousands of years, this and that. There were different cycles. There was much more carbon on the earth a long, long, long time ago as well. So the whole thing is a big bleeping lie. And the more people tell you that 99% of scientists agree that global warming is real and it's an issue and blah, 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 don't believe them. Just don't believe them. It is BS. They are lying to you, and they're trying to intimidate you into listening. And unfortunately, these people were intimidated into listening as well. These gutless media members throughout the world were lying through their teeth, who are lying through their teeth. And some of them are unknowingly lying. They've bought into it. They believe it. Blah, blah, blah. They're going to keep following the company line, so to speak, when it comes to that, following the cult. And then, unfortunately, a lot of young college students, a lot of young adults, and then a lot of older adults as well are going to continue to follow the company line when it comes to this global warming cult. And it's a damn shame. So, with that said, that's what I have to say about it at the moment. Of course, there'll be a nice, big, juicy mailbag we're going to get into coming up very soon. Mark Carlson contributing like crazy of late, and I really appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate Mark Carlson out of Iowa. Mark from Iowa. Awesome guy. Awesome, wonderful Iraq veteran in the Iraq, the first Iraq war during H.W. Bush's presidency. So thank you very much, Mark Carlson. Can't wait to get to all what you had to say. And again, we will have a meal bag, and that's what we're going to catch up to coming up in the next segment. And we are back here on Freedom of Thought, segment number 2. We're going to look at the mailbag now. Might as well do that. First, I'm going to mention I have a Gettr at FreeThought7679 to go along with the Twitter at FreedomofThou76. So both of those should be in the show description, I would hope. And also Crypto.com. I'm recommending that app as well for those of you out there that like to get into cryptocurrency. If you'd like to help this show, click on the link in the show description where it mentions Crypto.com. Again, it's an app. It's not a website. It could be a website as well. But Android and Apple devices, click on the link. It'll show that I referred you, and you will get $25 put into your account to get started trading cryptocurrency. So very, very much worth it in my opinion. Dogecoin, Doge Elon. Yep, like Elon Musk, which is pretty cool. Of course, Bitcoin, Shiba Inu, ones like that. And you can always PM me as well if you're curious which one to possibly get into. I'm no genius, and of course, it's not guaranteeing any win or loss one way or another. The best part about cryptocurrency is it's always on. It's always going. It's not like the stock market where at, say, 3:30 Central or something, it's done for the day. And then it doesn't open up until 8:30 the next day. So unless you have after hours trading, which costs extra money, and I don't know, it is what it is. It is what it is, guys. So let's get to the mailbag on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Freedom of Thought. Should be able to find it on there. Freedom of Thought 1776, if I'm remembering correctly. I apologize because I have things set up differently now. Obviously, I'm mobile. In this case, I'm using the app instead of the actual laptop. I'm finally back since that Jan 6 Lies and a Plea to Doctors that came out on January the 8th. See if looks like there was a comment there. Yep, Mark Carlson says, thank you. Yeah, and you're always welcome. 15 weeks ago. Man, I am so sorry, guys and gals. So I'm going to kind of go through the stream here quick, and then I'll get to the other comments, the individual comments from Mark Carlson. I believe there's one other person as well. I was showing basically that I had responded to Ilhan Omar. What was she saying? I'm talking about protecting voting rights. Like as if we're impeding her voters. Yeah, okay. Protecting voting rights. Yep, I responded to her saying protecting voting rights is having people identify themselves. Are you kidding me? Stop trying to cheat. Yeah, because she wanted to protect voting rights as in, oh God, voter ID, it's the worst thing ever. I was like, I just literally told her, stop trying to cheat. It's unbelievable. People should be able to identify themselves or should be required to identify themselves when voting. That's just so they can keep cheating. Nice picture of a guy here saying, my mask is on the inside. It's called an immune system. I agree with that. Yep, Joe Biden, put your trust and faith in the government. And then Donald Trump says, in America, we don't worship government, we worship God. Can I get an amen? Yep, that was always cool. I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah. They're talking about, I was saying global warming is a lie. And of course, they put Facebook automatically linked something saying explore climate science info. Sure. Yep. When you look at the difference, the averages are just incredible about how many days below zero. We had 25 days below zero in January. 25. That's almost the whole month. On average, it says 20. That's surprising. Yeah, but that's like the highest. And then February 2015. Okay, well, we'll keep going. Yep, this is Bill Maher. He says, maybe kids that young shouldn't be thinking about sex at all. Yeah, I agree. Obviously. Keep going. Yeah, more of a funny thing here. Yep, Joe Biden in kind of a comic strip where OPEC was like, standing there with their hands full like, mm-hmm. And then Joe Biden says, come on, man, I need your oil because I'm shutting down our pipelines. Yeah, see, that's about right. Missing context. Yep, of course. You notice anytime it's something going against the ultra left, they got to respond. See, Facebook, gee, bias much? And yep, they're saying Keith Ellison has to go. Vote for Dennis Smith. Agree there. Yep, vote for Dennis Smith. I put that on there for people to sign that. And of course, hopefully you'll vote. I'm not encouraging anybody to donate or anything. If you do, you do. I mean, it's I'm not going to donate money. I'm not a big donor in terms of politics because, well, they're not always what they say they are. But at the same time, voting out Keith Ellison is is the way to go. No question about that. Just say it, though, about donating. That kind of is what that is. Let's keep going. This guy's really creepy. Is it Yuval Noah Harari? That's a guy I'm going to probably have a whole episode on someday. Holy moly, man. Does he sound... He sounds like an Antichrist type. If he's not the Antichrist, he sounds like it. And when you talk to other people out there, not talk to other people. When you read verses in the Bible, and people that are versed on it and all that, and educated a lot in the Bible, he fits the description. He does. Not looks necessarily, but the... let's just say the criteria of what the Antichrist is going to be. Let's just say of Jewish blood and of the homosexual crowd. Yes. So he is both of those. And of course, a lot of the things about we will become gods and all that, that man will become gods. And again, basically was laughing at the whole thought of God existing. That's pretty, if he's not the Antichrist, he is an Antichrist. No doubt about it. It's a creepy SOB. Yuval Noah Harari, if you haven't heard about him. Holy moly, World Economic Forum. That is an evil place. Another interesting thing I was saying, this will blow you away. It's called Heaven with Randy podcast. His guest died, went to hell, saw Hitler, and then all that. It's incredible. So an incredible listen. Check that one out. We'll keep going here. Yep, another guy, Matt Burke, is running for lieutenant governor with I'll get back to that in a minute. I'm kidding. I get all the candidates mixed up, and I apologize. So, Mark Carlson says, thank you, Freedom of Thought, for sharing this post. Wow, Matt, let's go. Yep, we were both Viking fans, of course, of Purple Mafia. Okay, so that's the end of that part. So we'll get through the list there. I apologize about this. Let's get to the actual comments now from, it's not messages, but comments. Yep, quite a few. Yep, like Gerald and Mark and a few others. Interesting. Yep, because I know we go back way, way back here. Apologize for the delay, but that's kind of how this goes. Where the heck did it go? Okay, so we'll go with bravery. He was saying bravery and freedom. Okay, yep, he was commenting on the, I was saying on this day, in 1776, General George Washington led remnants of his army across the icy Delaware River. Yep. And then he says bravery and freedom. Yes, it was. That was actually on Christmas Day, but the comment was later. Mark Carlson says, we have suffered so much, and none of this is fault of our own. We have. Now we have few freedoms left. Remember back at the beginning, we care, so we stayed home for 2 weeks. Yep, that was the flatten the curve. Something was spreading around the world. Of course, we will comply. It's for the greater good. Just another additional week, we were told. You should not wear a mask, we were told. Then we need to wear a mask. Then you need 2. More freedoms lost. We will be masking up forever, now just to comply. It's for the greater good. Oh, proof. There is... oh, poof. There is a mRNA shot that may or may not help you. It's experimental. We won't require that you take it. Poof. Wrong. You will have to have that injection to go to work. To travel on a plane, to go to the library, to go to the store. It's for the greater good. Freedom's lost. When will it end? Will you be allowed to shop? Will a person that has not submitted be allowed in the Mall of America? Can you buy a car? Because you can't attend school. You can't attend college, even remotely. That actually happened in Canada. A student was denied to finish his studies as the school went to remote classes because he had chosen not to take the experimental mRNA. More freedoms lost. It goes on every day, and it's everywhere. Austria apparently is going to fine citizens that don't comply 7,000 euros. That's a lot of money. It's not like pesos in the Philippines or in Mexico or anything. The Mexican pesos are worth more than the Philippine ones. It's for the greater good. Just think, Allied forces gave all in World War II just to liberate people from this kind of evil. Macon says of the French who refuse that they are not French. Macron. Okay, I see what's happening. Yep, the R got left out accidentally. Macron says of the French who refuse that they are not French. It's for the greater good. Yep, the ends justify the means. That's the communist approach. I have 1,000 questions. Nothing I hear is answering them in any satisfactory way. In 2 years, you would think that our brilliant government would have done a number of incredible and thorough studies as to provide the people with the minimum standards for a face mask as to filter the virus. It would be for the greater good. It hasn't happened. Go ahead and wrap a t-shirt over your face, wrap a napkin, a paper mask of whatever you want. Do it for the greater good. When will we know the truth? Where is the truth? Warp speed for everything but the truth. Okay, rant over. Thank you, Joey, for the show and a place to express my mRNA opinion. Amen. Yep, I agree. Mark Carlson, God bless America. Let's go, Brandon. Freedom of thought. Mark from an undisclosed location somewhere in Iowa. And I love it. Thank you very, very, very much, Mark Carlson. Oh, wow. Yep. Okay. Yep. These were some replies come in. Mark Carlson says, dang, I forgot to rant on the subject of the vaccine passports and the issuing of vaccine cards for the purpose of travel and access to common things like a restaurant. Well, I guess that's for next time. Meanwhile, Kathy Hepner, stay safe up north. Keep us posted on what's happening. I think things are at a boiling point. Kathy Hepner says, well said. Troubled emotionally here in Canada. That's where I thought she was from. So Kathy from Canada, that rolls off your tongue pretty good. Praying for government intervention and the powers that be are torn away from their destructive desires. Tired of the way life is. Actually make that exhausted. Complete emotional breakdown for the third time in the past 24 months since the word COVID-19 came into my vocabulary. At this moment, I cannot see the sunshine ahead of the distance. I see war all around, and I am sad. Love you, Mark. I pray one day we will see you all again. Sadly, though, I can't find the door to be able to knock on to ask if I may enter. It's pretty crazy. Yep. So these are great replies. And then now we got Gerald from Nebraska. Gerald Sring, also known as a Purple Mafia Hall of Famer, just like Mark Carlson. Gerald says, wow, well said, Mark Carlson. I thought the mark of the beast would be a computer chip, but now I'm not so sure. Not saying I know because I don't, but I would. Sorry for this background noise here, but that's how it goes when you're around a lot of people. Okay, not saying I know because I don't, but it could be the end of a syringe needle. Don't know. All I do know is something doesn't seem right, and if you say anything against the grain, then you are deemed part of the problem. What kind of world are we leaving the next generation? Can't question anything. Trust us, they say. Yeah, that's pretty creepy, isn't it? It's pretty darn creepy. Pretty darn creepy. Okay, Mark says, okay, let's apply. Yep, so this is like a new post. Okay, let's apply the 3-strike rule here. I don't ever want to hear about this again. Furthermore, I think everyone knows they can get a shot if they want one. Yep, Supreme Court halts COVID-19 vaccine rules for businesses. Yep, wasn't that great? And I would say, yes, it needs to be 100% optional. Mandating is unconstitutional. It's unreal how many people don't understand that and think mandating on a vaccine is a good thing. Mark says, right. That's why we don't make military service mandatory or mandate that you get a driver's license. I wish people would, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a maturity thing, right? Or a haircut, or take a shower. That should be mandated. Yeah, but how could you, right? Or a million other things. Or our lawmakers need to follow the Constitution. The president especially. One last comment. When it comes to real decisions on personal health, none of that needs to come from the executive office or Congress. Yeah, I mean, sheesh. See if I can keep going. Apologize. I'm a little... Oh, man. 1 second. I may have to take a break here. Think I should. So I'm going to come back. I'll continue from where I left off. I apologize for this. It's getting interrupted here. So, and it's probably better with the way this is set up. This way I can convert this file to Zamzar. So I'm going to take a quick break and come back and continue where I left off. And we are back here on Freedom of Thought. I apologize. I had to take a quick break there. So sudden phone call and all that. It's just kind of bad timing, but it is what it is. This is a bit big, so in the future, I got to keep up better. So I want to try to get to almost everything, or I might have to even actually check out and continue on a different episode because it's quite a few. So otherwise, the show might be too long. So it's just that simple. Mark Carlson, though, yeah, I'll read a few of these for now. And again, I may empty it on the next episode as well, just kind of keep catching up and then eventually finally get all caught up. So if I do this in this more mobile fashion, then things won't pile up. And I apologize. Hey, and keep sending these, Mark. I really appreciate this very, 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 very much. Mark from Iowa again says, if global politics aren't bad enough, hurting some companies with product shortages and things, and United States federal government hasn't succeeded in killing off small businesses all the way dead, and the state governments are sure to help with their mandates. But look out. If your small enterprise survives all that, look out. Here come another mayor mafia with their hottest ideas to kill dead any surviving food establishments. Honestly, I feel bad for people in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. I mean, carjackings and other crime are way up, and these mayors and councils don't work to help but make it worse. And then to start off the new year with such an unbelievable restrictions in restaurants and food vendors and such, there's no way I will be traveling to the big city or conduct business or pleasure. I have spent a lot of time in Minneapolis, St. Paul, or MSP, and there were things personally I looked forward to returning to see. And so, last year I almost did not renew my Minnesota fishing license. I just didn't want to put up with any BS while traveling and fishing in Minnesota because I love the guys at the bait shop and talked with others I meet at the boat landing or the gas station. I often enjoy eating in the pubs and restaurants near where I recreate. I was certain that last year the state would mandate that all fishermen must wear a mask while fishing in state waters. Well, it didn't happen last year, and I thought we were past all this. Maybe I was wrong because I fear the next thing will be that I will be denied out of a state fishing license because I have not received a COVID shot and can't produce the proper paperwork. What's next? Checkpoints at the border? Maybe I will just fish in South Dakota next year. That money was well spent. Then I know that money was well spent. For the freedom of thought, this is Mark from an undisclosed location in Iowa. Because the link was, Twin Cities issue vaccine mandates for restaurants and all that. That's freaking crazy. That was a amount of weeks ago now. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Okay, now he's responding to where, that stupid Ilan Omar was talking about protecting voting rights. Oh, you can't have that voter ID, though. Oh, no, you can't do that. That's against the rules. Mark Carlson says there is no way the United States will let go of this portion of the land of land in Cuba. I am not sure if she knows what moral stain means, but if she wants to talk about money, let's put it all on the table. Maybe we can start by revoking payments and funding to anything gender-related, like the money sent to Pakistan to study gender issues there. Lastly, I know what a privilege it is to serve this great nation, so stop wasting your time and our money and do something positive. Good Lord, a worker filling potholes does more for the people than all your blabbering combined and multiplied by 1 billion. Yep, amen. What good is... That's the number one question I want to ask anybody out there, like Ilan Omar, Joe Biden, people like that. What have they done? What good have they done for anyone? Please tell me. What good has Ilan Omar done for anybody? Yet people run to the voting polls. Oh, I just vote for her because Trump hates her. Like that stupid idiot Patrick Royce, who lives in a similar neighborhood here. He went to the same voting place. And I just kind of looked at him thinking, oh, brother, we're both canceling each other out. But at least I'm canceling him out. Schmuck. But, unfortunately, he's doing the same. But, if this is as piled up as I think it is, I'm going to probably... Yeah, maybe it's not too bad. Yeah, I'll just try to keep moving. Yep, truth to ponder. Yep, he was saying it's time for the truth. It's time to let your voice be heard. Yep. Yeah, I love truth to ponder. Bob Bierman comes out of Georgia and Florida. I guess he lives in Florida, but he lives in Georgia as well. Incredible show. Truth to ponder. Truth with the number 2, ponder. Yes, outstanding. And Mark actually introduced me to Truth to Ponder with Bob Bierman. Bob Bierman. Mark Carlson. No, I'm just kidding. Truckers in Canada standing up for all their rights and freedom. Bless them all. Mark said, could this lead to a trucker strike in Canada? Well, lucky it didn't get that bad. But, oh, yeah, there's another huge one. So, I'll probably keep going for now, and then eventually I'll have to probably hit the brakes. And, see, this way, though, if I keep up, then things won't pile up and they'll be more current. Again, I deeply apologize for being so frickin' long since the last episode. Mark says, while I am not Canadian, I am affected by the politics and policies of the Canadian government and its provinces. I have been watching, and I want to say, God bless all you Canadian truckers. God bless you drivers and families and the patriotic companies that support taking the people's message to your capital and doing it with style. The whole world is watching. Shame on the media that tried to detour your peaceful protests at every turn. I want to know, where was the CBC reporter that riding with the convoy doing stories and updates? No, there apparently wasn't any of that. And even worse, the mainstream media helped aid in spreading negative and false information about all of you good people and your message. You can't trust the mainstream media any longer, and it's been a while for that, isn't it? Too bad, too. I was once a fan of CBC. I know why this convoy was planned. I know why these drivers put their jobs on hold. I know why they spent millions of dollars traveling days from all over. This convoy protest in Ottawa is not just about the freedoms of truck drivers. It's about the freedoms of all peoples heard by the government that ignores you. The people are demanding to be heard, and it's come to this, that no one is not woke and cannot be heard. And the mandates and the carbon tax. Thank you, brave truck drivers. Let those truckers roll. 10-4. Yep. Robert Hoding says, well said. We need more of these protests to show our solidarity. Yep, amen. Mark has united you stand. Lee Hepner returns and says, well said, my brother. Thank you. My prayers are with you and your family. God bless. Yep. Yeah, Mark's wife was originally from Canada. So, yep. Mark was saying, yep, GoFundMe is trash. Yeah, because they were actually, yep, and I'm going to try to see, maybe I can kind of go through some of this without, because obviously the trucker thing happened a while ago. But yeah, GoFundMe was denying people from distributing money to the Canadian truckers. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They were like stepping in and like, nope. So, yep, that's another thing to boycott. GoFundMe. Mark Carlson says, in this video, you will see how a simple question will not be answered. Yep, another deal where Bergen asked Trudeau if he regrets demonizing the unvaccinated, and he just, they just pushed him aside. Yep. So a lot of the trucker stuff, I'm going to try to go through that, because that's been the past. That's the past. So totally understand, though. Mark says, last night I received a message from my friend Lee Hepner, who is behind enemy lines. He shared this video with me later after watching it, and I realized that video backward. I realized that it's backwards. If you watch this video, you will see that the Prime Minister accuses the Conservatives of supporting the Nazi flag. Yep, that's absolutely crazy. That's Trudeau again, going after. Yeah, I'll finish this one, because he says, thank you for allowing me the podium. The Conservatives should be accusing him and his cabinet of the same or worse. Yeah, that's where it's backwards. Because it's more fascist than any conservative American or a conservative Canadian. No doubt about that. It's absolutely crazy. Because of the mandates requiring shots and masks for everyone and everything, and now the apparent seizure of bank accounts for those involved with the Trucker Freedom Convoy, you can't mask for health reasons. You can't take the shot for health reasons, or won't in either case for personal or religious reasons. You might as well pin the Star of David on your jacket when going out in public. The lockdowns and mandatory ban is now seizure of your bank account or accounts without warrant or investigation. It's impossible to call any of these actions those of a free nation. Just watch the short video, and what are your thoughts? I am Mark Carlson, and these are my free thoughts. Thank you, Joey Wygen, for allowing me to stand up to the podium. And yeah, you are very welcome. Lee says, freedom, brother, it will never be taken from my heart. In God we trust. Amen there. It's like something there. I apologize. Okay, so we'll keep going. Truckers rule the world. Yep. Could not regulate liberty. Yep. Facebook. Yeah, I was like saying how Facebook. Yep. Yeah, Mark says, Joey Wygen, thank you for all you do. And yep, and thank you, Mark. And again, I apologize for being so darn late. Kathy Hepner says, Facebook keeps fact-checking my photos and deleting them. Deleting them. Lee Hepner. It says, welcome to free speech dictatorship. Yep. I was like, yikes, I swear I'm not doing it. I knew that. Yeah, somebody got deleted. That's crazy and scary. So somebody deleted their comment there, and it wasn't me. Mark says, it's been going on for 2 days now, FYI, my comments are keep getting deleted from here. That's messed up. That's really messed up. Interesting one here. Mark says, according to news reports last week, the CDC removed 72,277 COVID-19 deaths from its nationwide tracker after discovering a so-called coding logic error that accounted deaths from 26 states that weren't linked to COVID-19. As a result, the CDC tracker's all-time tally childhood deaths from COVID-19 dropped 24% after the switch. And these are the people in charge. Where is the investigation? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely nuts. Yep, and then I was posting about that Yuval Noah Harari. Yep, and Gerald said, what a nut job. And Mark says, evil is as evil does. So I think, I'm getting closer now. Yeah, because some of it, Florida governors, right? Just Mark Carlson DeSantis responds to critics after signing bill ending Disney Academy. Yep. Mark says, thank you, Freedom of Thought, for sharing this post. Yep, I remember that one. I think we're just about there. That was the Matt Burke. So, it looks like I will be able to clear out the mailbag for the most part. Mark says, you must not speak out against the system, and your writings will get you in trouble, and you must not support the wrong political party, according to Varlam Shalamov. Mark says, this is the last one. So, C.W. McCall's Greatest Hits. It's a country song. There won't be no country music. There won't be no rock and roll. Well, it's a YouTube song. Well, it's an old song. It's on YouTube, pardon me, from the 70s. Mark says, I don't know how many of you will see this, but I'm saying it anyway. I want you to do 3 things. Play the link to the song, but listen to the words, and listen to the entire song all the way to the end. And while you're listening, think how those words sink in with everything going on today. This song was written in the 70s. Maybe the whole world is being hijacked by billionaires and corporations. What do you think? I think so. I think it has been for quite a while, to be quite honest. But apologize if I went on and on with some of the some of the older news, but it is what it is, and I wanted to get caught up and give everyone their platform. And I apologize, Mark, and keep them coming. Now I'll be keeping up better, so it won't feel old and all that, and it won't be sitting there for like weeks and weeks. So I'm going to do a better job about keeping up. Again, I deeply, deeply, deeply apologize for that. So again, the audio is going to be a little different because of this, but hopefully it's still okay. Hopefully it's still podcasting quality for everybody. Really wishing all of you a wonderful week or 2 or so whenever I get on again. But I'll try to keep up with things and comment about things going on in the news and strange happenings going on out there with the New World Order. And as we get closer and closer to the end here, because we're very much knocking on the door, technology for the end, like Revelation and all that, is just pretty close here. I remember my mom thinking it was going to happen in the late 90s, back in the early to mid 90s. And then as we got to the late 90s, I kept thinking and I kept saying, the technology is just not there yet. It's just not there yet, and it's there now. It's definitely there now, or at least we're doggone close to it. I think the technology definitely exists for Revelation and all that to be occurring very, very soon. Obviously, parts of Revelation happened many, many years ago, but I mean the actual, tribulation and all that, we're all knocking on the door. It's definitely something, and that's definitely going to be a conversation going forward. Recommending The Final Hour. That's another one. Jim Hammond and others from Living Word Christian Center do that podcast. It talks about end times and all that. Awesome podcast. Also, again, actually, Jim Hammond has also been doing, what is it called? The Final Days. Let's see, I might have the wrong device up here. I apologize. It's just kind of the general Saturday services. It's called The Last Days of the Fallen Earth. Last Days on Fallen Earth. And it's like 5, 6, and all that. It's different sermons. He's up to number 11, I believe, which is an incredible number. It's 12, up to number 12 now. So, yeah, you can download and listen to all of those. So, other things to listen to, highly recommend them. And again, thank you so much. Please tell your friends about the show. Those of you that have joined in the conversation, God bless you, and thank you so much. Keep commenting. Keep commenting. Don't be afraid to send in an audio submission. You basically do it with the way I'm doing this right now. Basically, open up your free voice recording app on your smart device. Press record, treat it like a phone call or whatever it is. You treat it like a tiny segment in a show, and there you go. Treat it like, just comment on for five minutes or something like that. It could be 1 minute, it could be 5 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with, and then you just and then I'll convert it into an MP3 file. Thanks to Zumzar with a Z.com, which is what I'm going to do with this current file and the other one just a minute with the other two as well. Of course, get everything together. A 3-segment show this time. I believe that's the first time in the history of Freedom of Thought. May have those more and more often depending on how things go. Kind of piecing things together. But this was fun. Actually, a fun way to do it. I'm basically kind of sort of outside as I'm doing it. So it's actually kind of cool. Again, hopefully this turned out okay. If you have issues with the audio, you think it's terrible, it's really bad, just let me know. Please write a positive rating if you could on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Audible, or Spotify. Any of those, you can actually put a positive rating or a star rating. It might be just a star rating on Spotify, but on the other 3, you can put an actual rating with a review and all that. With that said, I better step aside now, wishing all of you a wonderful spring. As it's starting to warm up, it's going to start to warm up at the very least. Still cold at the moment, like I said in the first segment. It still is. Wishing all of you a wonderful spring, at least to those of you that live in the upper Midwest. And God bless the United States of America.